I'd like to tell you what I'm going to talk about.
Tell me.
The separation of facts and feelings. Welcome, everybody. Those of you who don't know my Jessie, my granddaughter, let me introduce her to you. When she was a little kid, I would be afraid of asking her questions because she always would give me an answer that was so far away from where I was. And I've begun to follow her and to learn. And the last time I spoke to her was a couple of weeks ago when something had been bothering me and I needed her wisdom. And I said, Jessie, take this and ponder on it. The difference between facts and feelings. Because we take things as facts, which change continually, and then we're shocked when we find out they were not what we thought they were, because they changed so drastically. And I find that now, when everything is cut short, people text, they don't speak. And there's a reason. It saves time. What it does with the time, I haven't found out yet. And I would like all of us to begin to think with that. What do we believe are facts, but what really are what we feel about them? I'm not going to go into politics because that's a dangerous topic now. And I've been warned, Haiti, don't say anything political or they'll deport you. So I won't. But I would like for you to seriously think of the question that I've been asking Jessie and myself and people I'm close to. Jessie, could you talk?
About what?
The difference between facts that you know about and your feelings about them. Are they really related to the facts? Or are your feelings something completely separate, an inner knowledge which we don't want to admit to?
Facts and feelings are two different topics, but they can't exist without each other. So, for me, I believe that there are no facts without feelings. You can't have, for example, I've told you this one before. You know, in my heart, right, I feel that I can love so many people. Like, I love you, but that's also a fact that I do love you. So, both of them kind of coincide.
But whatever the word love is, it is different. With love itself is such a vast word.
Right. But
it is feeling.
But it's also a fact.
And also facts.
Because it's a true statement.
Could it be that we've put categories on people
What do you mean?
and plants and the sky and the moon,
Well, there are.
right? For example, Jessie, when you were 22 years old, I asked you a question, and I'm still working on it. I said to you at that time, Jessie, how do you feel about life and the world? How do you see the world? Were the exact words I used. And Jessie said, nothing ever dies. It changes its image, its shape, but nothing dies. And it got to me because it's true. The people I love who are no longer here, I carry I can conjure them up at a second. The things they said. So maybe when God made the earth, I won't say God, I need to say gods, because I can't see one God of any kind. But I can see powers who fight back and forth. When I give rain to the flowers, will it make them grow, or will it cause a flood that will kill people? And they're still fighting about that. And they gave us knowledge of technology, but we haven't gotten very far with it. We can do visible things, but not mental things. I find the world fascinating because I have power with one angry word to change somebody's life. But I have power with one little word to make it better. But what are the risks of passing these words out? And I'm not speaking politically. And I decided my weapon against everything difficult in life is to look at the word love and see what it really means. Love, as I begin to think and question it, Jesse's father, Kenny, who runs my normal program with me, taught me to meditate. And I said, Kenny, how do you know what questions to ask to find out what a person means? And Kenny said, I meditate. And so what I've been doing is placing an issue in front of me and asking it questions. And when I asked the world about the word love, it came up with, it depends on how you want to use it. And it puts me at the center of the universe. And maybe we are. Maybe we are the gods that produce hate and love. And nobody has taught us how to do something that has bad repercussions and get rid of it. See, I would like to speak to my president, Trump, and I've mentioned to people what I want to say, and they all say, don't touch that subject. But I must, because it covers my life now. And so I want to say this. In history books, since time immemorial, there have been people who destroyed. So many that if you want to join, you'll never be on top. People will forget you because there are millions ahead of you, ever since the dawn of the first caveman or woman. But if you want to be loved and admired, break the patterns you set up that have caused so much misery. When Hitler came, I was one of the millions of children who went into hiding. Being Jewish, being born in Vienna, Austria, which I believe Hitler was born into Austria also. But I found out that Hitlers and people who hurt people are so plentiful that they cover history books and story tells. But Mr. Trump, President Trump, if you want to be loved and known forever, change your rules Don't deport people. Be somebody known for goodness and kindness. And you'll find there'll be no others. And you'll stand there in history books for greatness. That's my appeal to you. The birth rate in America is so low that we're not going to have many people as workers. I'm quite severely handicapped. I have aides helping me. When you get to be old and perhaps, God forbid, handicapped, where will you find the aides? They've been deported. Most people willing to do the hard work of cleaning up bowel movements and urine and medical situations come from different countries, and they hide, afraid that you will deport them. What will you do someday when you will need to hire, no matter how much money you would pay, but there aren't any workers available? They've been deported. And that's the only message I can give about facts and feelings. My feelings are, if you want to be loved, as we all do, don't let people hate you for hurting them. Don't hire people only who tell you how to save money when that money really isn't being saved, because it's not for education of the helpers someday you will need. If there are any comments, will you read it, Jesse?
Yes.
I love comments.
You got a few. Alright. Yola says, "My dear Hetty, miss you, sending hugs." And then Martha Bilski says, "Hello all." Tibor also says, "Watching, listening, love Tibor." And then Taylor, my friend Taylor, says, "Hi Hetty and Jesse, love you guys and supporting always." Michelle says, "Hello Hetty." She also says, "I love the way Jesse makes you smile." Julie says, "Jesse in the house, hooray. Love you both. Hetty, I'm sorry I missed your call the other day. I hope you got my return message. Let's try to talk tomorrow." And then Martha Bilski also says, "I think facts are rooted in verifiable information, but feelings are moored in our unconscious responses." And then my dad says, "You rock, Hetty, brave soul." And then Lee Winters also says, "We love you." Michelle also says, "Immigrants have always had to work their way up in the past. They were welcome." I put up an early birthday card on Facebook. Danielle says, "Hi Hetty and Jesse." And then Julie also says, "If anyone in this world could get through to Trump, it's you, Hetty."
Okay, let me tell you, first of all, I love all of you. And the feeling is that love is the one item we use casually. But it's more than that. Love is what you feel in the morning if you allow yourself to say thank you. Love is what you allow yourself. You do not have to. You can hate. But if you love, you have to give. And giving is a feeling. I have a friend who As a matter of fact, she's one of my aid givers, and she speaks to me about what she heard a rabbi say, which was that I forgot the beautiful way in which he said it, but when God made the world, first he sent the soul, then he sent the body. And what is my soul? My soul is like mush. I can do anything with it. I can shape it. I can make it float. Or I can put it into earth. And if somebody says, "Hetty, how are you?" I say, "Oh, well, it's been an awful day." Why? Because my cat ran away. That's awful. But you can do something about it. So let me just do this. Let me ask you, could we begin to do things in depth? Nowadays, with technology, we cut everything short. And we have more time to do what with? Nothing? Sit there, play games? The world is waiting for us to create. I watch Channel 13 all the time at night. Channel 13 does not deal with everyday life. It deals with the things which you wish you would have learned in school, but nobody knew it then and couldn't teach you, about archaeology and other such things. But last time, just a couple of days ago, there was a young man, and his face had deformities, and his eyes would not stand still. And he said, "Could you give me a friend? I never had a friend in my life." And I looked at him and I realized children make fun of people who don't look the way advertisements look. And I thought to myself, I would like to be your friend, but how could I reach you? And what do you mean? And he said, somebody to talk to, the way friends do. And I remembered this wonderful title of the people who do my artwork, my exhibits. Artists in Partnership. The word in partnership. And I thought of, what about kindness in partnership? What about a child in school seeing one who is never talked to, going up to them and saying, "Do you want a piece of my carrot? Can I have some of your sandwich? Let's share." I was a child in Hitler's Vienna, and a Jewish child, and walking on the boardwalk once, a man came up to me and he said, "Hetty, I see you drawing on the boardwalk. Can I ask you questions? Who are you? Where do you come from?" And I said, "I come from Vienna, Austria, and we couldn't escape until Panama gave us visas. And after Panama, I was able to get into the United States, which was a dream. But when I got there, I hated it because it was segregated. It was segregated the way I had been segregated in Hitler's Europe. Everybody in my neighborhood was white. My children went to school in Oceanside, and all their friends were white. And then I was invited to speak in the Oceanside School District. And I went there, and the auditorium was filled with every color under the rainbow, mixtures and every color. And I looked at them and I said, "How did you do it?" And one of the teachers said, "No, we did it, all of us together." So let me ask you, we got rid of some segregation. Now we're about to start another segregation. And that is who to deport. Nobody asks questions. They're not given a fair hearing. They told that they're criminals. But they're not. How come the only photos that they can find are parents holding children when they show the victims of deportation? Ask questions of facts. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I can read you some of the comments.
I'd love that.
So, Michelle says, "I love you, Hetty and Jesse." Marcia Goldstein says, "Love you, Hetty and Jesse." Michelle also says, "Yes, parents and other adults need to show children how to be kind."
Especially teachers. I had a wonderful teacher. This was during Hitler time, when I was afraid of the whole world. And she, first, second, and third grade, who taught us how to draw. And she said, first of all, never copy anybody's work, because it comes from them. Only draw what comes straight from you. And I obeyed it. And I started out knowing that maybe if I would draw everybody in the world, nobody would hurt them because they'd know them. Well, as you can look at world history, it didn't work. But something else will work. Now that we cut everything short, we don't know each other. I'm going to start reading what I wrote about the people who are close to me. And as a matter of fact, do I have enough time?
Hmm?
I have right over here
What is it? I'll grab it for you.
that folder. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, this was something I just read, and it looked so wonderful at that time that I saved it. Jesse, would you read this?
It says, the sign. Okay.
Dear Ann Landers.
Okay. Dear Ann Landers, 2 years ago, I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown because I couldn't get a night's sleep. My husband's snoring was getting louder and louder. I couldn't understand how he could sleep through that horrendous racket. One day, a friend suggested something she had learned in yoga class. It solved the problem for her. Are you getting up? Do you want me to?
Read it.
It is called alternate nostril breathing, and it works. Now when I say, "Honey, please do the breathing exercise," he closes one nostril with his thumb and breathes 4 times. Then he closes the other nostril and breathes 4 times. After 5 rounds, he is sound asleep. And so am I.
Isn't that amazing? I remember one day I suggested a book to a friend, And she says, but that's a big book. I don't have time to read. Think of what we're losing. Now, if I would be neater and smarter, I would be able to read to you.
Hold on.
But
Don't get up. I'll get it. Whatever you need, I'll get it.
If I find it.
Okay. Well, you're hooked up, so if you need to get up, let me know.
Wait. No, I don't need to get up.
Okay.
I need to become efficient.
It's okay. We have 5 minutes. So do
Okay.
you...
In 5 minutes, I would like people to call in.
Well, you have a few more comments if you want me to read them.
Yes,
Yeah?
more than anything.
Let's see. Okay. Tammy Smith says, I'm angry that the government ignores due process. Kindness matters. Maria Luisa says, hi, Hetty, thank you for this. Marcia says, Hetty, you are such a delight, so wise. I love to hear your words, which come straight from the heart. What we need is a world filled with Hettys. What a wonderful world that would be. And then Maria Luisa says, I love your smile. Hope you're doing well. And then Michelle says, I find the sound of snoring comforting. It tells me that my loved one is there and breathing. So we have 4 minutes. Do you want to tell everyone how they can be nicer? How they can teach other people to be nicer? From your experience.
From my experience,
Yes.
let me speak of a friend named Marcia, the one who just called. She knew how to drive at a time when I no longer was able to drive. When you get to be old, they don't let you drive. At least your family doesn't. And she drove me to exercise classes every day. And one day I said to her, Marcia, you gotta let me pay because I don't feel right. And she said something so beautiful, I've never forgotten it. She said, my mother used to work, and the other children's mothers did not work. And when they went home from school, they had milk and cookies with their mothers. And then my mother stopped working. And when I came home on that night, on that day from school, we would have milk and cookies. And when she drove me to those classes, it was on the specific day that she had, I forgot whether it was Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And let's say Wednesday. And on Wednesdays, she drove me, and she said, no, the Wednesdays are no longer sad for me. So what you're giving me is those days back again when I had my mother. And I cried because she took away all my guilt at not being able to give her anything. But she taught me, you don't give money, you give a gift of caring. And if you see a child who doesn't have a pencil, give the pencil, not because it's a pencil, but because it's sharing. If somebody looks sad, I had a sad day the other day because at 95, just about 96, every part of your body aches. On some days more than others. And I have a friend who always, whenever somebody moves out and throws their things away, he goes through the things, cleans them, and gives them to whoever needs them. And he walked in on this day with a sign saying, "Be happy." And it's just a piece of wood with the writing, "Be happy." And it did everything for me. I would love Jesse to read something that I keep as a symbol.
Where is it?
That's that sign up there. Especially the last line. Yes. He cleaned it up and gave it to me, and I keep it in the living room as a symbol for what I want to do. Thank
It says,
you.
"Dance like no one is watching. Love like it will never hurt. Sing as if no one is listening. Live like heaven is on earth." You can show it if you want.
I love it.
Hold it a little closer here. I'll just hold it in the frame. Right here.
Okay? Somebody had thrown it away, and my friend cleaned it, gave it to me, and let's do that. Let's believe that life is heaven on earth. And I was just reading something so wonderful, written by a genius. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. And I think that's a question for all of us. Have meaning in the things you do. Goodbye. I love you all.